More than 900 brands, thousands of athletes doing more than 300 events. Sea Otter Classic is a bicycle festival held over 4 days just outside Monterey, here at the Laguna Seca Raceway. Mountain bikes, gravel bikes, unicycles, adaptive bikes. If you like wheels, chances are you can find something you like here. We're gonna take a walk around and see what the latest and greatest is at Sea Otter Classic 2024. Here in the Cadex booth, we've got Aaron Barczyk's latest and greatest, a beautiful Mosaic GT1 built up with Cadex's latest and greatest, like a top-end GX bar. Dig the stamp paint motif on this guy. Cadex's Giants high-end brand, not just carbon rims, but carbon spokes too. Cadex is also doing tires, a couple different tread styles. I like the Cadex Classics tire. Run this in 32 for, you know, more in between road, gravel, all road tires, so to speak. Done a couple gravel races on that. And then the straight ahead gravel tires, you've got the file tread and then the chunkier GX. Check out these sneaky little shift buttons on the Cadex integrated bar. Shimano Di2 satellite shifters just built right into the bar. Cadex isn't alone in this. I've got a Pro bar, which is a Shimano brand that has the same thing, which is nice and tidy, don't you think? On Lee here with the latest and greatest from Cadex at Sea Otter. What are we looking at here? This is not the latest. This is an old school, new school mashup. What are we looking at on?
Well, this is a really special build. This is a 4th generation TCR back in 2005. What's special about this bike is that it's the first ISP. So you look here at integrated seat mass. What we've done with this bike is we've given it a Cadex upgrade. So Cadex 36 rim brake wheel system. You got the new Race GC tires. If you go up, we have the Race handlebar, Race tape. This is all Cadex. And then we finish it off with a Cadex amp saddle. So taking what is really a breakthrough bike back in 2005 and making it even better with a bit of a Cadex upgrade. So a bit of a celebration to the 10th year generation of TCR and really looking back at one of the most iconic versions of that. That's what this is.
Beautiful stuff. Thanks, On. What up, Spaceman? Spaceman's pushing smart tires. What are smart tires? How does this tire work? What's a smart tire, sir?
This is a shape memory alloy tire, and inside you see those little wires. There's a super elastic alloy called nitinol. It was originally invented at NASA for the Mars rover program, and so we are bringing it down to earth for regular people. And our first product is going to be a bicycle tire, and so it's a bicycle tire that will never get flat. It's comparable to any other tire that's pressurized air, but you can ride on this for about 20 years, and it'll be the first retreadable bicycle tire ever.
Can you adjust the pressure in the tire, or is it just set to one particular pressure forever?
It'll stay 1 PSI the whole time. That's our first version. We're still working on some other versions of it, but it'll stay consistent. So if you like 100 PSI, it stays at that. If you like 80, 25, whatever it is, it'll stay at that no matter the temperature, no matter what you roll over. It's even bulletproof.
And how does it connect to a clincher wheel or a tubeless wheel?
It'll be similar to that. We're going to first start off with wheel sets, but it will be similar to a clincher, so it'll be able to fit on any rim. So because of the force of the metal that's there, it'll just lock right in.
Thanks, sir.
All right. You're welcome. You're very welcome.
And he's off. Or perhaps some pink rubber is more up your alley to match your pink bike with tassels. You do you. Will, the world's first gravel fork? That's a bold claim. I've ridden suspension forks on many gravel bikes. How is this Cane Creek Invert the world's first?
Yes. Well, what I would say initially is that I'm sure you had fun riding small mountain bike forks on your gravel bike. I too have ridden said same small mountain bike forks, and they're good products, but they're not quite yet what we believe the gravel rider really wants and really needs. So when we say world's first gravel fork, when we're talking about Invert, what we mean is it's really referring to 4 kind of key aspects of the fork, 4 key pillars. Number 1 is obvious. It's going to be, a smooth and controlled ride, give that suspension benefit. Great. A gravel fork should be lightweight. It should not add much of a weight penalty.
So what kind of weight are we looking at here for this?
Right about 1 kilogram.
Okay.
Invert SL, which is the lighter of the 2 models, comes in right under 1,000 grams. So it's the lightest, adjustable, fully functional gravel fork on the market. A gravel fork should be easy and simple to understand. It shouldn't be riddled with complex damper adjustments that are needed for long travel mountain bikes but not needed for gravel. And lastly, perhaps in my personal, subjective take, one of the more important things is that a gravel fork should look good. It should look appropriate on a drop bar bike. It should look like it matches the silhouette. So, the easy to use, the lightweight, the smooth ride, and the visual integration, the good looks, those 4 things together is what we really feel makes a good gravel fork. There isn't another fork out there right now that does those 4 things at the same time.
Got a few questions, but let's start with the visual element of it. And I agree that having smooth lines does go better with the gravel bike. Does that compromise the rigidity that you need for a suspended fork?
There is a little bit of concern with inverted forks of, this sort of torsional stiffness and stiffness aspect. We haven't had any issues here. Part of that is the short travel, so we're not talking about a super long travel fork with massive torsional loads being put on it. But internally, the fork uses sliding bushings. So as the fork gets loaded and as it compresses, it actually, the distance between the bushings increases and the fork gets stiffer and stronger. We use a carbon fiber CSU, so crown and steerer, and that carbon fiber structure is really stiff and rigid. So when it comes to steering response and handling, there's absolutely no flex that you can perceive or feel with the fork. It feels really good. It handles razor sharp just like you'd want.
I like the sound of simplicity.
Yes.
Talk to me about tuning. How is that done?
So the setup is really simple. We're telling riders you just take your basic shock pump and you air up the fork to roughly 95% of your body weight. That's kind of our starting point. And then you just go ride it. And you can make it softer, make it firmer, based on your preference, by adding or removing some air. But that's really it. There's no complex damper adjustments. There's no compression tuning or rebound damping adjustment. We tested forks with those features.
Just to clarify, there is damping. There's just not adjustability to the damping.
There is no damping in the fork.
There is no damping.
Yes.
Okay.
It does not have a hydraulic component to control the motion or velocity of the fork as it moves. We tested. In fact, our initial thought was surely a suspension fork would need that system. And so early forks we tested had dampers in them, but then we started to ask ourselves, is this really necessary for gravel bikes and gravel riding? And so we started doing blind testing. And we tested forks with and without damper systems. The fact of the matter is that with short travel on dirt roads and a drop bar bike, riders simply couldn't consistently tell the difference between which fork had a damper in it and which didn't. We felt like we just wanted the fork to move, to be really active and free, and not restrict its movement there. So it's a matter of what is necessary for the use case. Okay. Dampers are super necessary for long travel mountain bike applications. We really feel like for a gravel bike and for a gravel fork, it's just a complexity that we didn't want to include.
Similar, but on the other end of the spectrum, perhaps, was there the thinking the same for a lockout in that adding one would add some weight and some complexity?
It is an aspect that we wanted to have an option without to reduce that weight and complexity. So that's why we're offering the Invert SL as an option that is the most minimal and the most simple. The Invert SL it almost adheres to those 4 key aspects almost better than the CS version because it is so simple.
Okay, CS does have a lockout?
Correct. So the Invert CS has the climb switch. The CS just stands for climb switch, and that's this single click button here that gives you a nice firm setting. It's not a totally hard lockout, but it really firms up the fork and really reduces the fork movement when you're out of the saddle pedaling.
Sure. How much weight and cost does that add?
It adds $100 of cost and about 100 grams of weight. So in taking it out, we have the more simple Invert SL that's about 100 grams lighter.
I'm super curious to taste test one of these.
Yes.
When can folks get on these Invert forks?
We expect to be shipping forks around mid-summer, so a couple months from now.
All right. Thank you, Will. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thanks, over and out.
Ceramic Speed isn't the only one doing the oversized pulley wheels. This is a Kogel. You think that's novel? Check out the chainring on this bad boy. Oh, bam. On a Cane Creek E-Wings crank.
Yeah, so this is just a quarter turn, or you can have the replacement one.
Some serious machining going on there.
So,
All built up on a Rida. I'm assuming this is 3D printed. Do not know. We'll confirm if possible.
And drop right in, stock chain, stock cage.
It's a nice seat mask cap on the Rida.
I keep looking at it and I keep on it. I was like,
Is this head tube 3D printed too?
How many people are just like loving it?
Got questions. We'll have to track down Elijah to find out.
The brake pads, do you have different materials?
So this isn't necessarily new, but it's still a good one, and the twist off underneath works well for Garmin's and lights. I dig it.
Yeah.
Got the bolt-on style. You got a stem mount here, or the more traditional bolt-on to the handlebar. Got Safa Brian's custom Pray for Speed machine.
Maybe it's something I buy.
This morning, just doing a few bike checks.
That Ceramic Speed oversized pulley.
How are they?
5440. If you haven't seen Safa descend like a maniac on YouTube, go check that out.
I'll be back around 2 then. Okay.
Following Tom Pidcock down Tuna Canyon is definitely one for the ages. I'll put a link in the description. Scott's top-end gravel bike, the Addict Gravel RC. It's basically a $10,000 bike. 1x, 2x. This guy has got SRAM red with a power meter. As all high-end race bikes should come with, in my humble opinion. Got a one-piece integrated, which is becoming more and more common on gravel race bikes as well as road race bikes. Price-wise, a little more down to earth. The Scott Speedster Gravel 10, $3,000 bike. Metal frame, SRAM Rival 1x. Still has some internal routing though. I wasn't recording. None of that was recorded. Okay. I just want to talk to your dog, though. You're a dog carrier. You're very handsome and very nice, but really, like, the sleeping dog is the star of the show.
Avery has a pass. Oh, he has it on. Oh, yeah. There's Alexi's boss on one side.
You want to know what my position is here?
Yeah. What? Avery Stum is
Alexi's boss.
Yes.
Or if you really need it, Willie's handler. So never gets the job done. Jack of all trades here.
Steve Chapin with the latest and greatest from Castelli, the espresso kit. What was the goal with this particular piece?
Yeah, so the goal with this line, we have both men's and women's, was to make essentially the most comfortable riding kit we've ever made. The kit that you would go to first when you have the clean laundry basket. And basically what that meant for us is kind of recreating the jersey. We took a look at the jersey from the ground up. We actually called it the Jersey Project. It took us 12 prototypes, 4 different fabrics to get it right. So it's the first time that we focused on making a jersey that fits well, both ergonomically and aerodynamically, as well as comfortable when you're standing and walking around, which gravel lends us to all do occasionally. But also the pocket construction is new for us. It's we've got a pocket construction that took a lot of work with the correct amount of vertical stretch in the fabric, so the pocket billows out. It does not bag down, which we're all trying to avoid. The other thing that was interesting about this collection for us is we kind of threw the playbook out the window with colors. Normally we have about 26 or 28 colors that we apply to certain lines. You know, it's collections throughout the category. We kind of threw everything at this. I mean, 10 jersey colors, 8 bib colors, long sleeve, short sleeve, whole lots to choose from. Super comfortable.
Thank you, sir.
It is pronounced Candy.
Candy.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't even say it properly.
That's okay. Not a lot of people can. We spelled it a little funny, being from Chattanooga, the CHA. This is a road bike that is complete with Dura-Race, 3D printed dropouts from Silka, and internal cable routing. This is our voltage road bike. We do standard geometry and custom. Yeah. The Jewel is our gravel version of our lineup. It too comes with Silka 3D printed dropouts and also a 3D printed yoke. And the 979 is our Reynolds front triangle double butted tubing. And then we also have a select standard straight gauge tubing selection as well. We've been in the business of tie bikes. I have since 1996, and Eric's been building tie bikes since probably the late 90s, early 2000. We've worked for the big manufacturers in Chattanooga, and then I spent some time with Moots up until 2022.
Hi, my name is Aidan from 51 Bikes, and this is our new bike we're just launching here at the show, Seca.
Tell us about Seca.
So the Seca is a pure road bike, but with geometry that makes sense. So on the front, we've got a very, very dynamic, exertive handling bike. This is a bike that's going to instill a lot of confidence and corner like it's on rails. But we've got a ton of comfort built into the rear end. So this is actually the rear triangle we use in our custom model. We've been building custom frames now in Dublin for almost a decade. And after building in excess of 500, we kind of learned a thing or two along the way. So this kind of carries through our DNA of comfort, but you know, very assertive, dynamic handling.
Tire clearance is notable.
Yeah, so you can run up to 40 millimeter tire clearance on this. So we've currently got 32s on this. It's probably optimized around that 32 mark. Pogacar's riding them, so I guess that's definitely the way things are going.
Fisher, the man, the myth, the legend. What is this bicycle you're on today, sir?
It's like a replica in a manner. It's like the frame is relatively new. It's all chromoly. It is done in a way of a Schwinn Excelsior X, that geometry. And this has period pieces on it. That is to say that the alloy rim for 26-inch was not available to us until the spring of 1979. And previous to that, you would run drum brakes. Not just any drum brake, you would run a tandem drum brake because these actually worked. And they were rather fantastic. And I put this together to show people that, well, actually we had really good quality braking. And these pads are huge. It's self-energizing. The pads are so big that you replace them only every 2 or 3 years. And the pads are totally shielded, so you don't get crap on them and everything. And it was a rather great design.
But the repack race was titled because you need to repack the...
Well, that was a coaster brake.
Okay.
And you take even the highest quality coaster brake, you're trying to contain all that energy in such a small space. Let me tell you, it's going to overheat. Now, more recently, people have taken to clamping some big, heat sinks onto a coaster brake, and it's halfway decent, but not, something that would last. This was the setup you'd do to last, because if you tried cantilever brakes on these steel rims, which incidentally weigh 50 ounces each, you were a goner in the wet, you know, like that wouldn't work. So we were obliged to use these drum brakes, and it became really difficult to find the right ones.
You got 8-speed shifters, friction index. What do you got?
I use friction. You know, this is a Regina Oro chain and freewheel. And what was great about these is, man, you could go over the roughest territory and pedal as hard as you could, and it would never skip. You know, that.
6-speed, not 8.
Well, this one is a 6-speed. You know, and then you'll notice that the old school chain guards. I mean, that's stolen from an old cross bike. You know, really, and it was quite effective. This is a downhill setup, a downhill rig for repack, essentially. And of course, you know, the old school dropper, which really required that you ream out the you know, the seat cluster absolutely round and make it absolutely perfect. And then you had half a chance of this thing working.
That's incredible. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I'm much happier with today's mountain bikes.
Yeah, so today, April 18th, is actually the rebirth, the rebrand of Time with a complete refresh of the lineup on our mountain side as well as the road side. So on the road side, Expo 12 SL is our top pedal. So we've gone in and added 3 custom spindle lengths, 53 being the standard, 51 being the narrow, and 57 being the wide. So giving you options for fit, as well as cosmetically from top to bottom, from our X-Pro 12 SL to Espresso 4. This is a complete refresh on all the cosmetics, as well as some of the material changes.
For folks who don't know, there's a carbon retention spring. Is that how the cleat engages?
Yeah, so unlike most pedal systems, the Time pedal system is very much like a mousetrap. It is set, it is open, so you just got to step in and the spring will close on your cleat. And then just to engage, you just twist out and it's good. So it is the quickest engagement system in cycling. The X Pro 12 SL is one of the lightest pro pedal systems on the market.
What's doing gravel? Tell us about what's. I just think about this from back in the day doing cyclocross. It was great for
mud shedding.
So
the attack pedal system is ideal for XC riders, gravel racers, cross-country racers. It is quick entry, perfect for mudding shedding. When you go to click in, the cleat helps push the debris out of the pedal system and mechanism, so you can click in easy. Again, one of the lighter pedal systems on the market.
You got 3 models now for good, better, best.
Yep. Starting with the XC6 up to the XC12.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
And then
it's Sea Otter, but new this year too, Sea Otter is Buycycle, where you can buy used bikes. Lucy, what is Buycycle?
Buycycle is a marketplace for selling and buying premium bikes. We have over 20,000 bikes live on the platform. We're currently operating in over 30 countries, including US and Europe. And we have mountain bikes, gravel bikes, road bikes, loads of different types of bikes, loads of different brands, Canyon specialized, as well as some super niche and cool ones too. The idea is getting secondhand bikes to people, getting really good bargains to people, facilitating sales in an easy, safe way. We look out for both the buyer and the seller because we're handling all of that, and then making the process as easy and simple as possible.
So easy is good. How do you reassure buyers and sellers that they're not going to be taken advantage of by the other party?
So we have a buyer protection fee, and this is a very small percentage, but it ensures that when people buy the bike, the buyer is verified through a secure process on the platform. We get people to upload photos of the bike on the listing page, so we can see, like, hey, if the wheel is scratched here, that is super clear and very open. And if someone receives a bike and it's not in the condition that's stated on the listing, then we'll follow up, we'll step in and ensure that everything is handled and taken care of. Even if the bike was damaged in shipping and it's not the buyer's fault and it's not the seller's fault, we'll take that up with the shipping company, but make the whole process seamless, and we're here to look after people.
Thanks, Lucy.
Cool, thank you.
Buycycle.com.
Yeah.
Reshift is well known for its suspension stems, but there's also seat posts. What is new? What's the latest and greatest here, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a suspension seat post. We got 3 versions now. We just introduced a new one. So we have kind of like every flavor for the type of riding that you need. We've got a standard post that has 35 millimeters of travel, and it's really your all around. It can be just at home on a gravel bike as it can on an e-bike. We've got a pro race version, which is something that people use for gravel racing, performance road riding, and it's got 20 millimeters of travel. It's very highly damped, and we've just introduced our pro endurance, which is kind of in between. It's a damped seat post, but it's got the 35 millimeters of travel, and it's got quite a bit of tuning, so it's kind of fits in there. It's really a perfect combination for gravel riding.
Speaking of tuning, how can this be tuned for right away?
Yeah, so we got a couple different methods, but on these 2 posts, there's a micro tunability at the bottom with a screw that goes in, and then you can actually swap in different springs here and different springs and elastomer on the Pro Endurance. And at our Pro Race setup, you can actually remove stuff from the top and swap in other elastomers and springs. This is so highly damped that it's a bit easier to tune with a more discrete kind of change like that.
Let's take it back to the OG, the stem. What's the
for
new
sure
there?
So we've got 2 versions of the stem. We have a pro version and a standard. They both have 20 millimeters of travel. We do everything from 80 to 120. And what's new is we're introducing 2 new sizes in the summer, 55 and 70 millimeters. And then we also have a higher rise setup for people that are looking to go more upright.
In addition to the Reshift branded stems, we've seen this elsewhere. That's like BMC's gravel bikes.
That's right. Yeah. So we did a great collaboration with BMC, and they've got a stem in their sort of MTT line, integrated cabling, and it was a great experience. They're putting it on a lot of the bikes, and it's something we're going to keep doing.
STG, it ain't their first rodeo. They've got a lot of different saddles for whatever rodeo you want to ride. Alberto, I just enjoyed riding one of your 3T bikes. What's the latest and greatest from 3T?
Absolutely. So we have here different products from made in Asia and made in Italy. We got here the last release, the Extreme Italia, in the special color, which we call our name, Tecno Tubo Torino, where the 3T came from. And as you can see, this bike is able to fit up to 700C with 50 millimeter tires, but the clearance can be up to 57. And it's a kind of different approach of the gravel, so very aggressive for long run and things. It's assembled with the new SRAM XX SL group set, and we are pretty excited to have it here in exhibition. And this specific bike is also assembled with special hubs. So it's with the P321, which just released the hubs here, and with a special color to match the same that we have on the frame. So this bike is 100% produced in Italy, and as with the Racemax, so different technology, different shape, and different stiffness. So it's very rigid for long run. So.
Tell me about the cockpit. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, this is the new integrated stem that we have. Of course, as you know, all the bike industry right now are moving to the integrated stem. We released the more together with the Racemax Italia last year. Now we are having this, which will also simplify all the cables, because as you can see here, it's fully open, so it means for the travel, you can just release here and you can dismount completely the cockpit. And all the things is pretty clean in general.
So you've got the visual benefit of integrated, the aerodynamic benefit of integrated, but you don't have the brain damage of integrated because you can take the handlebar off and put it in a bike bag to travel.
Exactly, because in the past we did it with the Atto, which was the other, but it was different. So thinking that our riders especially, they like to bike packing, and pack even the bike. So that's the real and the nice things to do.
All right. Thank you, Alberto.
It's a great pleasure.
String or spokes? Actually, it's both. Here in the Bird booth, we've got a set of these wheels that I've been testing. I need to get a review on, but here's a peek at what they look like. As more and more bikes are coming with integrated cockpits that do not come off easily, the Evoc Road Bike Pro case could be a boon. You got hard shell on both sides, not just some flimsy padding. This case is just short of $1,000. We've also got the hard shell on the top of the back of the bike, but it's the cockpit that is the issue for many folks. And others have traveled with bikes and been dismayed to take them out of the case in a different condition than they went in on, so a little hard plastic can go a long way. It's not Irish, but it's Rover. This is the gravel bike from Revel up in Carbondale, Colorado. I've got one of these Revel Rovers back at my house in Colorado. Still in a box, but we'll get a test on that soon. Check it out. Special edition checkpoint for Shimano, showing off their GRX 12-speed 1x group. Been on this group quite a bit. Got it on a scare, but I rode down in Columbia. You can check out that video in the link above. When will we see the 12-speed Di2 version of this GRX? Time will tell.
I love that.
All right, Dylan, what's the hot new with Shimano?
So we got a couple of new faces on the wall over here in the footwear department. We've got this SHRC 903 Power, or the 903 Power, and that's going to be our sweet new track cycling racing shoe, and also like sprinters, crit racers, you know, bigger riders, people that want the stiffest of the stiff. That's the shoe that we've got for them. And it's got all the premium metal BOA Li2 fixtures and this sweet new lacing pattern it's good for the track racers that especially like the Kieran they still use the straps.
How about on the dirt side?
And on the dirt side, we've got the new XC shoes, the next generation of the S-Fire XC 903s. These things they've got some updated heel cup stuff going on to keep the rotational forces at bay. And then they've got the updated Ultread sole pattern here with the Ultread rubber compound, just for, you know, ultimate lightweight, but also still really good grip. That's what we're looking for with these shoes. So these are like the cream of the crop XC shoes that have been developed. New guard for the BOA here to keep boas from breaking off of your shoes when you smash a rock.
So plastic bow, but with a rubber bumper.
Yep, exactly. And then you can see this little plastic guard here. It's kind of there to deflect when you have an impact there. Keep the boa on your shoe. And that's ideal. You want that to be secure.
Then halfway in between the mountain and the road, you've got the gravel shoes. I've been
all the gravel shoes.
Riding and racing these guys, the RX8s, for quite some time. Plenty of pedaling stiffness, but still quite walkable and comfy. It's a Goldilocks gravel shoe.
Totally. Yeah, it's a great one. It's nice and stiff.
X marks the spot of one of the more unique seat stay designs we've seen out of Pinarello in a while. It's the Pinarello Dogma X. Not brand new, but definitely on the newer end of things. What do you think of this design? What do you want to bring on your bike? Propane stove? Check. Croquet kit? Check. Bunch of beers or waters? Check. Specialized globe can pack quite the punch. It's the Globe Hall LT. GRX? No. It's EGR. L-Twoo is a relatively new Chinese company that has mechanical and electronic groups for a fraction of the cost of Shimano or SRAM. Trek's got some new gravel rubber. This is the Girona. what they're calling the fastest gravel ever. Hopefully it's not getting slower. And then you got a big chunky gravel, the Batasso tread. Don't think, just do. Thus spake, or at least wrote, Action Jackson, winner of last year's Paris-Roubaix. FSA's new 5D Evo is the integrated bar you've seen on the legs of the pro riders. Change now as the cables are running underneath instead of above. That saves 60 grams of weight. Also new is there's 2 different widths by hand size. See if I can get my camera to focus on this. There's a large and an extra large version. Internal routing, of course. Computer mounting. And then some sculpted shape in the drop. Both a bit of a sweep and some sculpting on the outside. I've been riding this bar. I've been riding the predecessor to this bar, the 5D, on a Polygon Helios. And surprisingly, at least surprisingly to me, I found the top shape to be pretty comfy. And the most exciting thing, the most notable thing here is what I can't show you because it's not here, but having specific spacers for the bike frame so you have a nice smooth aesthetic going from the bar to the frame. FSA says they're making these spacers for all the major brands, Specialized, Trek, Orbea, Pinarello, etc. So you've got not just a pretty bar up here and a pretty bike down below, but a nice smooth connection between the two. There's one more piece of how the bike industry is changing. New things come up and a lot of us like to grumble about new things. It doesn't work well with the old stuff. And some of that's true, and some things will go away and some things will continue to improve. Hopefully this YouTube channel continues to improve. That is all from me from Sea Otter Day 1. I'm gonna be back tomorrow, gonna test ride a couple things. Gonna hop on that Cane Creek fork, the upside down gravel fork, the world's first gravel fork, quote unquote. I'm also gonna test ride the L-Twoo Chinese group set. So check back soon for those. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And hope to see you out here at Sea Otter one year. Will the world's first gravel bike? That's a bold claim. I've ridden forks on other gravel bikes.
Gravel fork. Do you want to start it again?
What did I say?
You said world's first gravel bike.
Yeah, good thing this is live on CNN.
Just for your sake.
Yeah.